Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to BioShock Infinite.
The humpback whale. That thing is as old as the hills. Strictly bargain basement. You gotta wear an O2 tank and a mask. We won't find a scrubber on that.
You know, that's saying something, considering the original bathysphere did not require separate oxygen masks. What the hell's even the point at that point?
Oh, the 52 Mako. Classic. But it's a death trap. 28 known fatalities related to its use. Carbon dioxide poisoning. And they're still on the market.
Well, steeply discounted, though.
Let the buyer beware, I guess. That or you could always get a separate O2 mask again.
There. The Stingray. Submersible time of 90 minutes. That's our girl.
All the way up there.
The grease monkeys had to get it up there somehow. Just gotta find the controls.
If we
Fair enough. Man, everybody's stressed down here. I don't know, I think I like the thief guard mumblings better. They weren't nearly as noisy, I think. Yeah, they weren't nearly as noisy as this.
They're real personal. They're like love.
See? I said it was dangerous.
Uh-oh.
Take care of this troublemaker and everything will be fine.
It's simple. You want to mind control everybody? Public address system. That's how you do it, Kara. Just like that.
Alright. Oh, wait. Now there's one of the winter dudes.
This is what happens when you're not careful.
Come on. Yeah, I do appreciate how you can knock them in the back of the head, too. What else do we have around here?
The law against bribery. And you'll want some fella in my privy advising how I defecate. What's next? Martial law?
Yeah, they get kind of repetitive pretty fast. Let's see if I can nail this guy. Or could just wait here for him to move.
Listen to that racket. Damn air grabber must be busted.
Gossiping about me.
Okay, that's an important note. Apparently, unlike in, say,
Come on out, you!
Oh, Jesus!
the Arkham series, you are not allowed to just sort of wait in the rafters for people to walk around beneath you.
I saw where you went.
I got time.
Wow, that's a lot of turrets.
I know right where you are. Well, enough of that. I got work to do.
They cop a breeze or what?
Alright, I guess the guy behind the door is not going to be coming out. And that guy isn't moving,
That's what this is.
so I'll just, I don't know, sneak up behind him.
Prying into my respectable entrepreneurial affairs.
Uh-oh. Kinda got across the water there, but you know what? Like in any stealth game, their peripheral vision just sucks.
You're tuned to Radio Rapture, music for the discerning ear. And now, we've got something very special coming up next. This little lady, who goes by the name of Miss Elizabeth, was picked out of the thousands by the maestro himself, Sander Cohen. And when Sander finds a songbird, you know for sure she's gonna sing sweet. So here's Miss Elizabeth with You Belong to Me.
They are very sensitive.
Do yourself a favor. Leave any thoughts of escape to the rubes. Life down in Montreal.
Fallacy in this direction.
What was that?
You know, don't you?
The doors, they're cracking open. My memories of the future and somewhere I'm going to go.
You sure it's your future you're looking at?
If not mine, then whose?
Damn hooligans. They've been sneaking into the repair bay at night, riding around on the hydraulic lifts. It's some kind of makeout spot. Can't exactly blame them. God knows how boring it must be to grow up in Rapture. But their hormones are costing us money, and this isn't an amusement park. I've locked the control room. The code is 7951.
That'll be something to remember.
Ryan's minefield is well laid out, I'll grant him that. But what security system made that ain't got a hole or two in it? If I was taking book down at Fort Frolic, I wouldn't like my odds. If I jig left when I should go right, there ain't gonna be enough bits in me left to set a crab's table.
So how did Sander Cohen have the ability to send the bathysphere through the minefield?
I know right where you...
Yeah, I just did not want to deal with that guy. Hey, there's my tranq dart back. Oh, there's the radar range.
Probably a switch around here somewhere.
Because I do get one of those. I just don't care because I never use the weapons. I just use the crossbow. Luckily there's no new conventional weapons, so I don't have to feel obligated to show them off. Oh jeez. Ah, finally. Oh, nice. And considering all the turrets downstairs, it's a good thing I started up here then. You can hear them rumbling around down there. But yeah, that actually reminds me, there's actually a considerable amount of stuff downstairs here, which I haven't actually looked through yet. I wanted to do so before I, you know, advance the plot by making the thing go down. Yep, that's right. I can see people through walls indefinitely now. Just like constant and forever. And that's not the best mod for Peeping Tom. Oh no. We'll be seeing the best mod a little bit later. Anyway, that's just the basically where you can, you know, surface the engines from beneath, sneak around everybody.
Another one.
I guess this is the model that, what's-his-face takes when he goes down into Rapture. Huh. That one's pretty well busted. I think that's everything. So let's do this.
This is gonna be noisy.
Well, good thing I took care of everybody? No, of course not. There had to be reinforcements, didn't there?
I ain't letting a good...
Terrible.
It only
Nuts.
seems to be knocking them back.
You're only gonna do real damage that way if they don't see you coming.
Can't believe that's the first time I failed to knock somebody out by knocking them in the head.
Don't leave me! Not again.
Actually, I'm not too keen on possessing the turrets just yet, because if I do so, they will shoot people, and that'll be bad for my pacifism run.
I saw where you went.
Even though, for the record, the game does not keep track of any and all kills.
Got it. That was the last of it.
Now you think you can manage the repair?
Sure. I've been fixing quantum field generators since kindergarten.
Come on. Don't leave me out here with my heart in my hand.
I don't think heart is the word that's supposed to go in that particular phrase. Well, there's my Trank Dart back. Apparently done fine after going in his eye, and yeah, it's
irregular.
took me a while, but I finally realized I haven't actually been down into the bottom. Damn it!
Give me the cold shoulder.
Damn it!
I ain't through with you yet. I won't roll over for you. Ah!
Yeah, this is why I had to come back.
Say you could go.
Of course, the buildings are being fabricated above the waves. But we will lower them on a lunette ring, submerged into the structure's steel frames. So much steel, you wonder. How will we keep so large a purchase from the government? Water is buoyant. We shall not frame Rapture in steel, but in aluminium. The government jackals may suspect me of building an air force, but never a city.
Atlas, the heat is on. Ryan knows something's up and is sending men to investigate the department store. Suggests you lay in supplies at the Manta Ray Lounge and prepare for a siege. Looks like there's something in the Manta Ray Lounge worth investigating.
There. Now I'm done.
How could you just walk away?
Uh-oh. Damn it all.
Where'd you go?
Alright, I'm just gonna leave now.
You don't have my permission to leave.
You know, too bad I don't need it. Alright. Let's get out of here.
That's what this is. Incessant, unbounded prying into my respectable entrepreneurial affairs. That sounded odd.
Whoops.
I saw where you went.
Apparently you didn't.
Push me.
Oh.
I push. Ah!
Well, maybe you did. But screw you. I'm not coming back here anyway.
Any progress, love? I must confess, I'm becoming a wee bit skeptical.
Remind me, why am I supposed to care?
You see, me lads have taken a keen thirst for Adam, and there's a vintage right in front of me that'll do nicely.
If you kill her, I truly hope you are happy living down here. Put down roots, raise a family. Or maybe you think Andrew Ryan is going to ride to your rescue.
Fair enough. But remember, there are fast ways to harvest little sisters, and some very slow ones.
Nice guy. Oh, crap. Damn it. Okay, one elevator ride later.
Intellectual superhumans who, in the act
We're introduced to a new ammo type. And much like Trank Darts, the gas arrows
Come on in and watch this.
are non-lethal, so I will be using them.
Pay attention now. That's Andrew Ryan on that screen. He's got the formula. You trust your old man on this one.
Extra guy in the corner there.
Look at what you done to him. Fair warning. I'm an eye for an eye!
Yeah, that's nice. Alright. I believe I've got everything I need. So at this point, I only need to go into the Manta Ray Lounge, because there's some bonus stuff in there, which we've recently uncovered. Everybody's just being noisy out there, but it doesn't really matter. Because that's not where I'm going. There's nobody around.
Louie. Hey, if you don't get down here soon, there's not going to be an ounce of booze or a piece of ass for the taking. Sometimes I think you've taken this whole Robin Hood business a bit too much to heart. Fontaine's got us out there ladling soup for the purpose of building an army, not to share the milk of human kindness. You keep up this kind of behavior, I'm going to start thinking there's more red in you than Karl Marx. What the hell? Splicers. They're busting in! Hurwitz! Tell Fontaine the perimeter's compromised!
You know what I've always kind of wondered?
I won't hurt anybody if I don't have to.
So... Oh, there's somebody up there. How did she even get up there? Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was always kind of wondering what the idea behind Fontaine is. Because, I don't know, so far as I can tell, the idea of Rapture here is to basically refute the idea that you could actually build a civilization on objectivist terms.
You don't know nothing. Ryan's playing them all like a cheap fiddle.
And, well, that is true enough. Because objectivism is just utter nonsense. Oh, hello there, buddy. Behind all that glass, are you?
It's all hand signals. Clear looks.
Luckily, invisibility also makes me utterly silent. But yeah, the thing about Fontaine, though, is that he represents the point that Ayn Rand was trying to make, which is that altruism does not exist without some sort of a without some sort of an ulterior motive. And I strongly disagree with that idea. The fact is that, aside from, I think, Tenenbaum, aside from her, there's really no example of anybody honestly being a nice person in Rapture. I don't know, maybe there's one in the second game, but I haven't played that one.
Paper. Spying on me again.
There, okay, so there's a guy down here. That's an inconvenient place for him to be. But fortunately, you know, since he's in here all by himself, there's nobody he can harm. So again, I get to stick with the whole pacifism thing. Even though, again, that is exactly for my own benefit and nothing else. Oh good. That way he'll keep his head above the water. Oh joy, it's one of these again. Why not? I'm not sure, but I think that was French for look behind you.
Silence.
Yeah, not too impressed, but oh, okay. That is a little disturbing. I will admit that. No. Ah, damn it! Damn it! You know, normally I'm so much better at timing those things, but
We're not finished.
just as soon as I start trying to do it on camera, I just keep on failing.
When I find you.
It's not normally like this, I swear. And man, this guy's got a lot of food. And medicine. Apparently he identifies his crates with a hand. Seems unusual.
That's odd.
Yeah. At least that one was hard to screw up.
I never thought anyone would be able to bring all these degenerate splice heads into line. I gotta hand it to Atlas. After Ryan locked us up in this pit, I thought that was it. Just a long, final dive into the abyss. But he's given us hope. Or what passes for it down in Rapture. When a person's got nothing, hope's about the kindest thing you can give her. Or the cruelest.
Very philosophical. Ah, crap.
Come out and show yourself.
Alright, no way around that thing.
I ain't letting a good lead like you get away.
So let's just time this correctly and damn it!
You're not getting out of this, dear, that easy.
Okay, now I can go. Maybe jump around it, hopefully. Come on, what the hell? Damn it! At least he's staying up on his floor.
We're not finished.
On the other hand, that upgrade was worth the stress. I have just broken the game. The game has just handed me the means by which I can break it.
I ain't letting a good lead like you get away!
So long as I am standing still,
Christ, better prep for my
I can remain invisible indefinitely.
Friend. I'm not trying to sell you insurance. I'm not in the insurance business, no.
Where do you...
While they do get an alert if they see you before you knock them out, you do also get that grace period that allows you to knock them out before they can react. So yeah. Now, you may have noticed earlier, but we did pass those 3 bottles indicated by those coded messages.
Those bottles. Just like on the coded note to Fontaine.
Seems a bit excessive.
Fontaine and Atlas. Son of a bitch.
Not sure where she's seeing Atlas around here, but...
Shawshank, I'm gonna make this clear as can be, so we don't have any miscommunications. Where the hell is the ace in the hole? You think you can stiff Frank Fontaine? I paid good money for state-of-the-art weaponry. I ain't losing this war just because you found yourself a higher bidder. I can promise you, I ain't never been one to lose with dignity.
Well, anyway, that was actually just, entirely optional. In fact, scouring this area is entirely optional. We will be coming back here later in a required moment, getting through here.
I may be old, but I'm not deaf.
You're not getting out of this deal that easy.
Oh, great. Opening the secret area has made even more assholes spawn. On the plus side, it lets me show off exactly why Peeping Tom is now horribly broken.
Won't
One.
Walk away when I'm talking to you.
Canary in a coal mine. Somebody's lurking about. I won't.
2.
You're only going to make it worse when I find you. Let him try to.
You'll find.
3.
You have 1 second to show your face.
Oh, you're gonna stay up there, are you? Yep. Guess I better go and get ya.
Get out here. Your supper's getting cold. I sure put a stop to that.
Didn't even care that she was pointed at me. They take forever to figure out where you are. I mean, let me just put it like this. It's a good thing that BioShock Infinite was not a full stealth game.
everybody. Public address system. That's how you do it, Kara. Just like that.
Because it's not. Okay, it's down there.
I made my quota. Well, the hell, all right.
See, I keep my eye on these things. I catch everything going on.
Nice. That guy had a lockpick.
Who's that?
So here I am.
What you done to my
To such strange noises.
Oh hey, somebody spotted me knocking a guy out. So much for that.
you've done. And it ain't funny.
What did you see? Doesn't matter. You're knocked out too. Okay, but the big guy, that does matter, so I'm just going to sneak away from him. But now I'm safe, so let's get back into Su Chong's rift device. Bad juju. I was trying to check my inventory, but I hit the wrong button again. By the way, did I ever show that off yet?
How we won't immediately die of CO2 poisoning the moment we turn the thing on.
There's a navigation button.
Well, not the perfect phosphor frequency, but it'll do.
You press it and it points out where you're going.
Stop it from overheating. There. Everything's fixed. We're ready.
Let's fire it up and see. What did I tell you?
And we'll be going back to Columbia next time. But since we just made our way through a perfectly legitimate establishment, and we've recently discovered that we're working for a perfectly legitimate businessman come revolutionary, I'd say that now is a pretty good time to visit History Corner to explain how organized crime has managed to be so persistent over the years. The violence monopoly. I've heard that one way you can define government is by the presence or absence of the monopoly on violence. The idea is that a strong government has the ability to prevent and deter unsanctioned and unlicensed violence, and has the ability to punish those who use violence anyway. Naturally, these punishments are violent, or at least they're imposed by force. Fines and payments to injured parties, imprisonment, public humiliation, pain, torture, and death. Every functional government has this monopoly, has access to these tools to hurt and kill its own citizens. And if it lacks these tools, then the ability to do these harmful things is in the hands of the citizens. Citizens who will use them if they have no reason to fear that they will be punished for their actions. Except, of course, that the people they wrong will likely take up arms and inflict harm right back because they also have that power. And if a group of people should happen to become large enough and dangerous enough that nobody else wants to get in their way or retaliate no matter what happens to them, well, doesn't that mean they've achieved a monopoly on violence? Organized crime shares a remarkable number of features in common with governments. Criminal gangs fight one another for territory and resources, they organize a defense force to protect what's theirs, and they make sure that those under their protection both remain safe and pay the gang on time. It's no wonder then that gangs always seem to pop up in areas where the official government is the weakest. And in areas where the government is wholly ineffectual, the gangs step in and become governments unto themselves. And if the government tries to regain control, it can lead to an all-out civil war. With this in mind, it becomes apparent that the history of organized crime is more or less the history of marginalized political and ethnic minorities who nevertheless managed to organize and gather together enough power to rule over each other, if no one else. And much like Religion Corner, I figure it would be best to list off a few of the most infamous examples that have, at some time or another, influenced the United States. The Italian Mafia. The unification of the Italian peninsula was something of a drawn-out, messy affair. For centuries, present-day Italy was more easily understood if you broke it down into three regions. The wealthy and powerful republics of North Italy, the papal seat of Rome in central Italy, and the Mediterranean kingdom of Naples, which is the southern part of Italy, and Sicily, the island Italy is kicking. Sicily has been ruled by foreigners more often than it's been ruled by natives. It started with the Greeks and Romans back during the height of their civilizations, and after the Western Roman Empire fell, the Eastern Roman Empire came in and occupied Sicily, and Rome itself for that matter. North African Arabs conquered the island throughout the 9th and 10th centuries CE, but in the 11th century, some southern Italian kingdoms saved up and hired Norman mercenaries to take the island in the name of Roman Catholicism. After the Normans came rulers from Germany, France, Spain, Austria, northern Italy, Spain again, southern Italy, Spain one last time, and then finally the Kingdom of Italy, which formed in 1860. The roots of the Mafia lie with the exceptionally late end to feudalism in Sicily. With the nobility finally losing their monopoly on land ownership, there was a pretty massive shift in the power structure. And at the same time, their extremely underdeveloped economy meant that there were plenty of people being left out in the cold by their government and by just about everybody else who could have subbed in for them. Unification didn't do much to help either, as the new Italian government was still dominated by the more prominent cities up in the north. This tumultuous situation led to the mass migration of Italians to the United States, Canada, and Australia, and it also led the new landowners to hire extra-legal enforcers to settle disputes, protect their property, and project power onto their neighbors. Eventually, these thieves, extorters, and murderers organized themselves into the first mafia clans. At its height, the mafia essentially was the Sicilian government, and were better able to maintain law and order than the few soldiers and police officers employed by Rome. And while that is better than nothing, let's not forget that the mafioso were not accountable to the people of Sicily, and so they were just as free to walk all over their subjects as the barons they replaced. The only reason their power waned was because they were wiped out by Mussolini's fascist government. See, the fascists started out as a different band of criminal thugs dissatisfied with their government, and so they naturally decided to destroy their competition as soon as they had the power to do so. In America, the Mafia essentially became a way for Italian communities to protect themselves and gain power in cities which were, as I've said, underserved and underrepresented. Political machines and party bosses were a semi-legitimate way of dealing with this problem, but since that wasn't enough, many Italians gravitated towards the Mafia families since they were the only means by which many an Italian immigrant could gain any measure of success and prosperity. Then, starting in 1920, the American government gave the Italian Mafia, along with the Irish and other ethnic minority gangs, a huge boost by making an extremely popular commodity and every industry connected to it illegal overnight. Because the Mafia was organized, they had the capital, the fronts, and the distribution networks necessary to bring alcohol to the people despite what the government intended, and between the much larger stakes and the much larger profits which the alcohol industry brought, gang wars erupted in cities throughout the United States on a scale never seen before and rarely seen since. Things slowly recovered once alcohol was made legal again in 1933, but it would take until the 1980s for the Italian-American Mafia to seriously start sliding in power. The Chinese Triads. Supposedly, at least, the Triads began as a secret society bent on removing the Manchurian Qing dynasty and restoring the Han Chinese Ming dynasty, which the king had overthrown. They never did succeed, of course, but along the way they apparently picked up the survivors of other failed revolutions, including the Boxers I mentioned way back in Foreign Imperialism Corner. And since they couldn't exactly get government approval or funding for their activities, they also got very good at raising money through opium smuggling, slave trading, counterfeiting, and everything else that was illegal in China. When the communist government took over in 1949, they cracked down on the Triads, again because they didn't like the competition and they finally had the absolute power to destroy the Triad operations. In response, the Triads largely moved to Hong Kong and Taiwan, and even today in Hong Kong, Triads like 14K and Sun Yee-on remained exceptionally powerful forces, socially and politically. In America, we didn't see triads so much as we saw tongs. Starting in the mid-19th century, decades before the mass immigrations of Europe began, some of the vast population of China managed to gather enough funds for a trip across the Pacific and wound up in the young state of California, particularly in San Francisco. Since they were more foreign than usual and they were coming over in such unprecedented numbers that they were starting to outnumber the European settlers, their reception was particularly harsh. While immigration from most nations was restricted starting around 1920 or so, restrictions on Chinese immigration began with the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Notably, the main complaint of the time was that the Chinese people were too impossibly foreign to ever assimilate into American culture. Does that rhetoric sound familiar to anyone? But in order to protect themselves from European American discrimination and from the unorganized criminals whom European American police weren't bothering to prosecute, Chinese Americans organized themselves into tongs, or associations. Soon after that, since Chinese immigrants had no real legal way to achieve success, many tongs wound up becoming criminal enterprises, running opium and gambling dens, brothels, and other activities that were illegal in America, but often tolerated or better in China. They also smuggled in a lot of women from China, since legal immigration had been mostly male throughout the 19th century. And, like any set of rival criminal gangs, the tongs eventually started fighting one another. But in this case, things ended before the tongs had the opportunity to get in on the Prohibition boom, thanks to the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. The utter destruction it wrought effectively destroyed everything the tongs were fighting for, and by the 1920s they had either turned back into legal organizations or else disbanded. Of course, that has left an opportunity for Chinese triads to come in and take up some space themselves. The Crips and the Bloods. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s came about in part because African Americans were increasingly moving to cities as the agriculture of the rural South grew more mechanized. This gave them the chance to organize peaceful protests, boycotts, and marches in order to get more political power, but it also allowed them to organize into violent gangs, which either sought political power through the use of violence, or simply sought to achieve the kind of financial success which white American discrimination was denying them. The Crips and the Bloods didn't form out of this initial wave, but they did form in the second wave that followed the civil rights movement's modest success in the mid-1960s. The Crips originally started out in much the same way as the first KKK. The member gangs were mostly unrelated, aside from their desire to commit illegal acts and get even with the system, and the name Crips was a useful way for them to come off as more unified and intimidating. The Bloods formed in Compton, as non-Crip gangs decided to create their own alliance bloc in order to oppose the expanding Crip influence. Now, all this was really just par for the course throughout the 70s, but then the crack epidemic struck in the 80s. And much like with the Mafia in the 20s, the gangs of LA used the money they got from trafficking crack to expand their criminal efforts, buy better weapons to fight each other with, and generally make life miserable for everyone living in a poor urban neighborhood throughout America. The draconian prison terms and drug possession laws that were passed in the 90s, laws which today are referred to as the second slavery, they came into being as a response to this increased violence. And now, as the crack epidemic wanes and black gangs are losing their power and influence, we're finally starting to notice that our current criminal enforcement and punishment strategies are too aggressive compared to the state of the current threat to law-abiding citizens. Again. And while it would be nice to wipe out organized crime as thoroughly as fascist and communist governments have in the past, I hope you'll agree that the number of liberties that must be sacrificed to make this happen is too great a cost as compared to the benefit. Thanks for joining me again in History Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.